Hey, this is Mark Goldberg with another episode of Mark Vlogs Watches Live, and we are here at the Little Dog Farm. Now, you're going to get a look at the back of the Little Dog Farm, which includes some fall cleanup that I haven't gotten around to yet. But most of this place is extremely delightful and beautiful. Now, as for a quick wristwatch check, I am wearing the watch in question, and let me get it off. Well, first let's talk about it briefly, and then I'll take it off and we'll kind of take a tour all the way around, completely around this watch. Now, what is it? First of all, it is a Breitling Steelfish Chronograph. Its dimensions are fairly immense. This is a 44 millimeter wide watch, and it is approximately 17 point something millimeters thick or tall. So it is a big watch. It contains the dreaded Valjoux 7750, which is not a fancy-pantsy movement. It is not an in-house movement. It is an ETA chronograph movement with a day-date function. However, Breitling now upgrades all of its, then this watch is only about 2 years old. Breitling now upgrades all of its, any ETA movement that they use, they are doing to the chronometer spec, which means it's more accurate than the average shitter. So, however, they have now gone to, I believe, someone correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I want to say since the sale, Breitling is going to all in-house movements. So these ones with the ETA movements may become a little bit more rare over time. So this does have the wobble. There's a B, so if you see me run and scream, you'll know why. It has a wobble. There's a rotor in here, and it winds only one way. You know, a lot of rotors and a lot of movements wind when they swing one way and the other way. But this rotor has a one-way swing, or a one-way winding action anyway, and that gives it a bit of a wobble. So it's a little bit like having a party favor on your wrist. If you make a violent wrist motion, you can kind of feel a little bit of movement within the watch case. I don't know, some people really hate that, but I'm not one of those people. So, B. Okay, so what are the things that I really like about this watch? Let's just have a look around it, and then I'll tell you the stuff that I don't like. I love those Arabic numerals, and they are extremely well loomed. Now, that is a cream-colored dial, kind of like off-white, cream-colored, maybe light brown. And so I really love the way they did the Arabics, which are completely, see how close I can get, those are completely comprised of lume. And so they glow very brightly after some exposure to the light. And the hands are completely lume filled as well, and that means that you get really good nighttime read on this watch. Now, this sucker is good down to 500 meters. Which for a chronograph is very good. And why is it very good? Well, it has more holes. This case has more holes in it than a watch that simply has a crown. There at the 3 o'clock position, you've got those screw-down pushers, which operate the chronograph subdials and second hand. So, however, they are screw-down. Sorry, I'm scratching where the bee was touching me. Much like the Rolex Daytona. So this happens to be good for an extreme amount of depth. It does not have a helium release valve, and I could care less. I don't think there's a watch alive that needs one of those. Now, the dive bezel, we're going to take a look at that in closer detail in a minute. I think is one of the strong parts of this watch. The action is perfect. Really, really good action on that. Way better than old style Rolex bezel action, but not quite as good as new style Supercase ceramic bezel Rolex action. So right in the middle. Definitely better than the one, not quite as good as the other. And that is an illuminated pip there at 12 o'clock. And it's brushed stainless steel. Okay, that's what the material is. Now the watch is, it's pretty light out here, so it's a little hard for me to tell exactly what you're seeing. Here, I think you can get a good look at the lugs. Those lugs are satin finish, okay? So they are not especially shiny, the lugs of the watch, but the flank of the watch is high polished. And that's the only place that there's any high polish on this watch. Now, the bracelet, I have goofed around a little bit with this bracelet, and I think maybe you can tell. If you look at the outer links, this is a 3-piece link. This is the Breitling Professional 2 bracelet, I believe. And if you look at the outer links, you can tell that they are satin polished. And I don't know if you can tell that the center links are polished. Now, when I got this thing, all of the links were all satin polished, but I sort of, satin, meaning matte finish. No bling, no shiny bits on there. And to be honest with you, this is not a watch that I probably will ever sell, so I didn't mind screwing around with it a little. And what I did was I've been working, just while I'm watching my Grey's Anatomy guys, I sit there and I play with the, well, I can't really use a pointer. Let me put you down a second. Hang on. Kill the bee. Don't go away. I'm taking off the watch so I can point to various aspects of it. Okay. I'm getting crazy messages here, so I don't know what I've done wrong. Oh, hang on. Orientation is locked. Rotate back. Okay, there. Sorry. Okie doke. By the way, I'm doing vertical video, so if you're watching on an iPhone, this is going to look fine. Go to full screen on your iPhone. If you're watching on a laptop, just turn your laptop on its side. Guys, that's what I intended for you to do in the first place, okay? If you're on a laptop, turn it on its side. If you're on an iPhone, just go to full screen. You'll be fine. So these center links, you can kind of tell here now, they're polished. Just when I'm watching TV, I just am working on it with a Cape Cod cloth just to screw around with it, put a little bling into my life. If I decide I get tired of that, it'll be super easy to restore it back to this kind of a finish. I would just use a Scotch-Brite pad to do that, okay? Let's see if you can, I know it's a little windy, but let me see if you can hear the bezel action here. And you can kind of see the daytime loom. There is 0 play in this bezel. There's a good healthy clicking action. It's 120 click bezel. I love that before I have a bezel fail, let me fix that right away. Okay. I love the fact that it has the date and the date. I don't know why that I love that so much, but I really like it a lot. For me, it has something to do with the fact that I tend to lose track of what day of the week it is, and that's more because I work, I don't have a typical 5-day work week, so sometimes I work 7 days, sometimes I just take off for vacation, so it's real handy for me to have the day and the date there. I like that a lot. That little Breitling emblem with the wings there on the dial above the day and the date. Wow, you wouldn't think something so tiny as what is biting me right now could hurt, but it does. Little tiny flies. That emblem is made out of solid white gold. Well, I shouldn't say solid, I don't know, maybe it's 18 karat, but it is white gold. It is not a plated piece. That is a gold piece, which is really nice. Nice to have that. Breitling sure does some awful nice casebacks, much better than Rolex does. Here you can get a look at the caseback designation, 13341. That is the model number of this watch in case you want to look it up on the internet and get an idea of what it costs. I think it's around $4,000 new. Someone look that up and tell me in the comments. I think it's around $4,000 new, maybe $4,200. But I purchased it secondhand, very gently used. It had barely been worn, and I paid, I think, $2,300 for it. And that is the way to buy Breitling. You don't want to pay too much for these guys because if you ever decide you want to flip them and you paid retail, you will be buried in the watch. That is, and what I mean is, you better leave, in your will behind that you should be buried in a watch, in a Breitling, if you buy it retail, because nobody will ever be able to get the value back out of it. So unless you plan to be buried in the watch, guys, buy it secondhand or get a monster discount out of the authorized dealer, and I mean 30-40%, something in that nature. Signed Crown. Okay, well, that's all I got for you. I just wanted you to have a quick look here at my Breitling Steelfish. It's the watch of the day. Hope you guys enjoyed. Oh, like, subscribe, do all that nonsense, and hey, we'll do this again. Thanks, guys. Marc Goldberg, peace out.